Record close for the Dow Transports. Airlines set to extend their rally as the COVID relief package moves closer to becoming law and vaccine rollouts accelerate. Helene Becker covers the airlines for Cowen, and she joins us now. Helene, good morning.
Morning, Morgan. Thanks for having me.
Want to get your outlook on the passenger airlines to start, given the fact that we do have this latest stimulus bill making its way back through the House right now, expected to be signed into law before the end of the week, and also the fact that some of the data are starting to suggest that we're seeing a greater uptick in travel by people in general right now.
Yes, so that's what we're thinking. So I've said this before in our writings that I'm not sure it makes a whole lot of sense for the government to keep giving the airlines money until you open things up and people actually travel. And then to your latter point, the fact that we're seeing, more than 1 million people traveling, 8 of the last 14 days, we've had over 1 million people traveling, which is pretty significant. We think by the end of this month, we'll regularly be there. And then by Memorial Day weekend, we'll be somewhere between, let's say, 1.1 million and 1.4 million. And we think that as more vaccine gets into people's arms, there's going to be a jailbreak and people will want to just get out and travel. And we think this summer is going to be really good on a relative basis, really being, good versus last year, not so good versus 2 years ago. And then after Labor Day, we'll see what happens. But we're not that concerned as much anymore after Labor Day because we think enough people will be vaccinated that they'll still travel. And you have people working from anywhere. And so they're going to have to think about traveling maybe back to their offices as offices start to reopen later this year.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I just traveled a couple of weeks ago. I was pretty stunned. I mean, both of the airplanes in both directions were completely full, even all the middle seats. So given that fact and given what you're expecting around travel trends in general this year, whether it's leisure, whether it's business, whether it's domestic or international, which names are best poised to capture the recovery, at least initially?
Yeah, so clearly domestic, right? Domestic leisure is going to be your number one choice this year. And even within the Americas, we think that you'll have regional travel. I'm not sure people want to travel internationally, but thank you for traveling. And I think we're going to see Spirit, SAVE, Southwest, which is a pretty crowded trade at this point, Allegiant, ALGT. Those are our 3 top ideas for domestic leisure. And then we like United as an outperform. If we're wrong and international comes back sooner rather than later, then United is most leveraged to international with 50% of their capacity in those markets.
I see on the tape today, Helene, Frontier is going to try again on the NASDAQ. They'll go under FRNT. Do you expect a lot of new entrants? I mean, could this be sort of the way it used to be in the 90s where you had guys going to the desert, picking up some spare empty planes and crowding capacity again?
So this is normally the point in time when you would have new airlines start up. And Breeze Airways, the airline based in Utah that David Neeleman started, just got approval over the weekend to start flying later this year. You have Avilo, which is the Houston-based airline that would start up. So these guys can get aircraft. But remember, Breeze is going with the A220, which is the Airbus variant of a 100-seat aircraft, and their mission is going to be small to medium-sized cities. So it's a slightly different model. But I think to your point, it's not so much picking up the aircraft as picking up the labor. And with pilots on furlough, even though the government tried to prevent furloughs for airline companies, there still were some because this recovery is taking so much longer than people thought it would a year ago, that you have some people employed that would be looking for opportunities, and Breeze and Avilo and other new airlines would make sense of that.
Helene, the amount of equity issuance, not to mention debt, by many of the airlines has been prodigious, to say the least. I'm just curious, do you think it's come to an end? How is it impacting the overall dilution numbers that you look at? And how do you sort of think about it a year having passed since they started to vigorously issue and continue to?
Yes, raise debt. As long as the Fed remains what is the right word, accommodating, the airlines have no issues because they'll be able to continue to raise capital, and we certainly see that happening. The way we're thinking about it is the dilution for equity holders. If we had thought previously, for an example, that United was going to earn, and this is not a great example, but if we thought they were going to earn $13 a share in 2022, let's say, and now we think they're going to earn $11 a share, and we had a $110 price target, and now we would have a $95 or $100 price target. So the upside would theoretically be limited as you start to think about the airlines earning money. Right now, because all the airlines are still cash flow negative and are still not earning money, the opportunity is what we think will happen going forward. And we are valuing these stocks on 2023 numbers, but I think that some of them are actually back to pre-pandemic levels, which makes it really hard to think about buying them now. I mean, obviously they're up on the reopen trade and things getting better and vaccine and so on, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they trade after we get past, let's say, the next month or so.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.